Hello everybody, my name is Endless Mavericks. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It's wonderful to see you all here. This is just a little story time video about the time I ran cross country for my high school. I was a senior when I ran cross country. It was actually earlier this year because I'm a senior right now. Cross country season, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was, I think, maybe September when school started to like December or something. I don't know. The details of the dates are fuzzy. School just blends together for me. So during the summer, I had attempted to do the One Punch Man training regimen for a month, but I only made it about 13 days before I fractured my shin. But luckily it wasn't a terrible fracture, so after I got it fixed and whatever, I was able to run cross country by the time school started. I remember I was in math class. One of my track teammates from junior year, Clay, he sits in front of me. He asked me, he's like, "Hey, Envis, you gonna run cross country?" And I'm just like, sure. When is it? He's like, "Actually, I just started yesterday. You gonna come to practice?" I'm like, "Okay, let me get some clothes and I'll do it." I show up to cross country practice. Cross country was a lot different than my experience in track. Our very first day of practice, we had to run a 3-mile run in the 90-degree weather, and the humidity of where I live makes it feel like 100 degrees. And it was hell. It sucked. I had never run that far in my life at once, and even when I was doing the One Punch Man training, I was running the 6 miles throughout the day. It wasn't right then and there all at once. My feet, I cannot describe to you how terrible my legs, my shins, and my feet felt after the first day of practice. My Coach Emily, told all of us, this is very rigorous and very serious, and we're not ready to devote 100% of ourselves to this sport, then we should just walk away now. My every ounce of my being wanted to step away, because this was hell, but I stayed. I stayed rooted to my spot. I wanted to make my track coach proud, and so I stayed. And I'm very glad I did stay. I was depressed. I was in a very terrible place in my life. But then again, school always brings that terrible place in my life. I don't have very many friends. The only thing that would keep me going, that would keep me waking up in the morning, trying to plan my next stream or working on some videos, which I've long since made private, working on my model, and it's the only thing that would keep me going, was being a VTuber and chasing this dream. But now I had something else. I had something else to keep me going as well. I had friends, and I loved and respected them with all of my heart. Me and Clay ran together for the most part in the beginning of the season. Clay was getting really good, really fast. Maybe it's because he's younger than me, and he was still growing, and it's easier for younger people to get stronger faster. I say that as if I'm some geriatric. No. I'm 18 years old, Clay's like 15 or 16. Or maybe he just worked a lot harder than I did, because, I mean, he's a beast. One day, there's this kid running in front of us on one of our runs. Whenever Coach isn't looking, he's stopping a little bit. I tap him on the shoulder as I'm passing him. I'm like, "Come on, it's no time to walk, let's keep going." He nods, he's like, "Alright." And he comes and he tries his best to keep up with us. His name is Dom. He's a freshman. He's probably like 14, 13, I don't know, something, freshman. Dom and I became fast friends, and we started running together a lot. As teammates, we all ran together and trained together and practiced together. But Dom and I were close. We trained and practiced with each other more than we did with anyone else. One day, it was the week that we had our first meet. Our first meet was on Saturday. We had a time trial. This time was the first time we were actually racing for speed for 3 miles. Dom was getting really good. He even tied with Clay for his run, if maybe Clay finished a few minutes or seconds before him, I mean. Dom finished just after Clay. They were somewhere around 27 minutes. I finished dead last out of all of our boys. I was the slowest. 29 minutes and 57 seconds. That's horrible. So I didn't run at our first meet. But then our second meet, JV got to run as well as varsity. Varsity ran first, and I was shouting my lungs out, cheering for my teammates, my friends that had been so kind to me and so accepting of me. Although I myself still felt isolated and still felt like a bit of an outcast. I didn't really feel like I was part of the team. I wasn't on varsity. And then it was our race. We were last. Boys junior varsity, we were running last. It was me and Dom and a new guy we got named Lake. He was another freshman. He was a little bit slower than Dom, but a little bit faster than me. Our head coach, Coach Emily, and our assistant coach, Coach Ian, they were talking to Dom and Lake, telling them that they want them to aim for 23 minutes or 22 minutes. Coach Ian turned to me and he pats me on the shoulder. He's like, I want you to try and run a 25 minute. Get as close as you can to 25 minutes. Yes, sir. I'll do my best. And he smiled at me, patted me on the shoulder again, said, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all three of you. When I heard those words, I felt like I was dreaming. And the world around me seemed to slow down for a second. And I just looked at him. And I'm just like, wait, you said you're proud of us? And he smiles and he nods. He's like, yes, I am. And then Coach Emily looked at us and she goes, yeah, well, I'm proud of you guys too. And that right there, hearing that from both of them, that they're both proud of us, of me, something woke up inside of me. The world around me seemed to slow down. I heard that gun go off to signal the start of the race, and I felt a fire inside my body. The course was about 1.5 miles long. The first 1.5 miles, I was running at a pace I knew I could keep for 3 miles. I felt stronger and faster than ever. In the first 1.5 miles, I used this fire to just run something I knew I could run for 3 miles. Something that I wouldn't, like a baseline pace, I would not fall below. Second lap around the course, Coach Ian started giving me call-outs. At different parts of the course, he would give me commands and I would obey them. Alright, Envis, time to speed up. Alright, Envis, start picking people off. Would give him a quick thumbs up to let him know that I heard him. I would run up to somebody, run beside them, matching their pace for a good 10 seconds, and then I would take off to the next person, and I would keep doing that for the rest of the race. As I'm nearing the end of the race, I see Dom. He's panting. He's dying. His parents are like running on the side of the track, like out of bounds. They're like running along the track with him. I get to him. The fire inside of me is burning. And it's burning bright and it's burning hard. But I'm starting to feel tired. I pat him on the shoulder as I'm passing him. I'm like, come on, Dom. Keep up with me. There's no time to slow down now. We got 400 meters left. Don't look back to see if he's nodding or I didn't hear him say yeah. But he quickened his pace. And next thing I know, he's running right beside me. He's using everything he has to run right beside me. Here we are, the final stretch. The last 200 meters. We're both out of breath. We're both panting. We're both panting hard. I'm like, Dom, I'm gonna stay with you for as long as I can, but you gotta win this. You gotta make varsity. You gotta do this. And then I see it in his face. Something changes in his eyes. I see a fire. I see a fire in his eyes. And it rekindles the flame in my heart. I'm like, attaboy, Dom. You ready to finish this off with a bang? He goes, yeah, let's do it. And the two of us take off sprinting like two bolts of lightning, as hard and as fast as we can. People cheering, people shouting our names. And we finished. People handed us some water. I look at Dom, he looks at me. He's smiling. I'm just like, Dom. And I give him a big ol' hug. I'm just like, we did it! Coach Ian is astounded. And I'm just like, Coach, what was our time? He looks at me and he goes, 22:40. Couldn't believe what I was hearing. 22 minutes and 40 seconds. And Dom got 22:42. Just behind me. We were so happy. Before we all leave, Coach Emily gathers us all together. She goes, would anybody like to say anything about their times? Nobody says anything. Clay looks at me and he goes, and just raise your fucking hand. And I'm just blushing. My friend Connor comes up to me and he grabs my hand and he just like raises my arm for me. And Coach Emily looks at me and she goes, and this? What was your time? And I said, 22:40. Her face lights up. And she says, I think I might have to make some adjustments to varsity. And Connor and Clay and everybody on varsity just like, let's go, Envis! And they're all giving me hugs and they're all crying around me and giving me like fist bumps and stuff. It was great. It was the best feeling ever. I felt like I really started to feel like I was part of the team. Poor Dom, though, he didn't make varsity just yet. That felt good. And then, come our next meet, I got to run varsity, and I got to actually feel like I was part of the team. As we all lined up for the race, me and my teammates, we all looked at each other. We nodded. We all nodded to each other in a silent understanding, because we knew that each and every one of us was going to give it our best and nothing less than our best. The gun went off and we all took off running. Coach Emily and Coach Ian told me they wanted me to try and aim for 22 minutes. I told them I would not let them down. I felt faster and I felt stronger this race, and I pushed myself harder. I just listened to Coach Ian's commands and I followed them to the best of my ability. It was the same course as the first meet, so by the time I hit the last 400 or so meters wherever I saw Dom on the first race, I really felt it. I felt everything hit me like a truck. The tiredness, felt lactic acid building in my muscles. I felt everything weigh down on me. But I kept going because I remember that promise I made, that I would fight tooth and nail to the best of my ability to hit 22 minutes. Here we are, the last 200 meters. I didn't feel like I had very much left. But at that moment, as I saw the finish line, I saw the crowd of people on the sidelines, all of my strength, all my energy, all my stamina returned to me in an instant. I felt adrenaline pumping through my veins. I felt my heart begin to race. And before I knew it was happening, my body took off in a sprint. I felt so many things in that moment. All conscious thought just ceased to be the only thing that mattered. The only thing that mattered was getting to that finish line. I felt a fire burning in my chest, brighter and hotter than ever, and my body started sprinting harder and faster than ever. And it almost felt like it was partially doing it of its own accord. Passed up another person. I let out a war cry and I passed up 3 more people at the finish line. When I finished, I was exhausted. Coach Ian came up to me, patted me on the shoulder. He's like, "That was amazing." And I'm out of breath. I'm just like, "You think so?" He's like, "Yeah, that was 21:42. I'm just like, "What?" He's like, "You did it, Envis. You shaved off an entire minute. That's incredible." And I was so happy and I was so excited. And then it was JV's turn to run. I saw Dom, I saw Lake, and I saw my friend Briston. And he was the one who was on varsity before me, but I had taken a spot. I gave them a thumbs up from the crowd of people at the starting line, and they gave me a thumbs up right back. And I ran with Coach Ian along the side, cheering them on. I was shouting my lungs out, cheering them on. And then I see Dom, and I see Briston at the last 600 meters. They're both looking like they're dead. They're looking like their faces are melting. Their bodies just want to give up. But they're still pushing on with the hearts of lions. And I start shouting wildly, cheering them on with everything I have. Dom sees me, and I see that fire in his eyes. And Briston sees me, and I see he has a fire of his own. And here we are at the last 200 meters, the last grassy strip. I'm sprinting along through the crowd of people, running as they're running, shouting madly at them to keep going, keep pushing, give it everything they have. And I see Dom and Briston, they're picking up speed, they're picking up momentum. And they're running with everything they have. And they did it, and they finished. And I was so proud of them because I look at the clock. Briston's time was in the 21:20s and Tom's time was in the 21:30s. I was so proud of them. I had lost my spot on varsity, but it didn't matter to me because these were my teammates, these are my friends, my family. I'm so glad that they did so good. And given the opportunity to cheer them on again like that, of course I would do it, even if it meant losing my spot on varsity, because that's not what it's about. We're a team, we're a family. I want all of us to get better. I was a little sad that I lost my spot on varsity, but happiness I felt for Dom and Briston far outweighed the sadness of losing my spot on varsity. At this point, we only had 1 meet left. It was our regionals race. Only varsity was going to be running. It was 3 weeks away from now, so we had training to do. I still showed up to every single practice and gave it my 110%, knowing that I wasn't on varsity anymore and I wasn't going to be running. I still showed up, gave it my 110%. I worked extremely hard at practice every single day. I knew I wasn't on varsity anymore, but it didn't matter to me. These are my teammates, these are my friends. I was doing everything I was doing because I loved them. Here we are, the day before the meet. We just finished our practice. We had a light practice. And Coach Emily is listing off the names of people running varsity. There were 7 of us. Number 6, she calls out Dom. Dom steps forward. And then number 7, I was expecting to hear Briston. But I hear Envis. I looked up, and my face lit up. And Briston comes up, and he pats me on the shoulder and gives me a fist bump. And I stand next to Dom, and Coach Emily smiles at me. And she nods. And she goes, "Alright everyone, get some good sleep tonight, eat good. You're gonna feel like you're flying tomorrow." Coach Ian comes up to me as I'm grabbing my water bottle. He gives me a fist bump. He goes, "Congratulations." I go, "Thank you so much." He goes, "Yeah, you've definitely earned it." And he goes, "I'll see you tomorrow." Gives me one more fist bump. I'm like, "Yeah, yes sir." And here we are. The regionals race. This is it. This is our qualifier to see if we're gonna run state. See if we can hold on to this season a little bit longer. We rode on the bus for about 3.5 hours roughly, and we make it to our course. It's a course through the woods with hills and a little bit of wildlife and stuff. Here we are, lining up the starting line. The top 8 schools are the ones that will be competing for state, but the top 25 runners will also be the ones competing for state. This was it. I was feeling weak in the knees. I needed to pee. I was scared. And then the gun went off. We all start running. Dom and I, we had practiced every single day together. We had grown together, grown stronger, grown faster together. And now here we were, at the end. And we were gonna give it everything we had. I felt that fire burning inside of me, and I know Dom felt it too. And we stuck together the whole race, letting our fires carry us, burning ever brighter. We didn't speak. There were no words to be exchanged between us. We were on the same wavelength, the same mental level. We knew what the other was thinking the whole time. We were connected. We were in sync. Our footsteps, our breathing, everything about what we were doing, we were in sync with each other. We were one. When we were about halfway done with the race, that's when we started picking people off together. I would point out one person ahead of us. The two of us, I would come in from the right, Dom would come in from the left. And we'd close in front of him, like a pair of scissors. We kept picking people off like that. And then here we were, the last 400 meters of the race. I was feeling everything. I was so tired, I was so exhausted. I felt like I barely had anything left. Dom was picking up speed, and he was going on. I was falling behind a little bit. I was doing my best to keep up, but the world around me was fading. Coach Ian sees me, and he shouts, "You need to go, Anvis! There's 200 meters left. You've got this." And he calls out our times. "You're at 19 minutes. You can do this. You can hit a sub 20. I took everything I had not to lose any more speed. And here we are, last 150 meters. It was almost surreal. It was this massive clearing that opened up in the woods with the giant finish line. People on the sidelines were cheering. The world around me seemed to slow down. Everything seemed to fade away. I started getting this terrible headache. My entire body it was agony. Everything, lactic acid filling my muscles, and my oxygen-starved lungs burned like hellfire. Everything was fading to black. I felt my body begin to shut down. It was the same feeling I had in that last race at track last year where I burned myself out when I tried to run the mile. This time, I closed my eyes and I said, "No, I am not letting this happen again." It felt like time had slowed down. I see Coach Emily on the sideline. She's shouting at me and Dom. I see Dom a little bit ahead of me, and he's feeling everything I'm feeling plus more. And then that's when I feel it. A fire started burning in my chest. A fire that would not let me quit, that would not let me lose. When I felt like I had no energy left, nothing left to give, I reached down into it and I pulled out a power I didn't know I had. And my body started moving faster. Here we are, the last 100 meters. And as I'm passing Dom, he looks at me. I look at him, tears streaming down our cheeks. And then with everything he has left, every last bit of energy, he shouts, "Go, Envis!" And that's when that fire inside of me exploded and engulfed the both of us, and we both took off sprinting down the field. And I could hear Dom's footsteps right behind me like the thunder that follows lightning. 70 meters left. The two of us are sprinting faster than we ever have before, neck and neck. 50 meters left. We pass up one person. 30 meters, pass up 2 people. 20 meters, pass up 3 people. 10 meters, pass up 4 people. And the last second, we pass up somebody else. We finish the race. I hit 19:35. Dom hit 19:37. Dom walked over to his parents and fell forward. His parents caught him. I fell to my knees. The world around me started fading to darkness. It was okay now. I could give in to the darkness. I could let it take me. But then in a far-off world, I heard a voice. Disembodied, but present. Envis. I open my eyes. Coach Emily is standing before me. Envis, look at me. I look up, and I match her gaze. I'm proud of you, boy. Then she smiled. And she walked away. It was the best feeling I've ever had. I made her proud. My coaches that had shown me love and kindness and trained me up to everything I am right now were proud of me. We didn't end up qualifying for state. We were one of 3 out of 25 teams where all of our runners finished the race in below 20 minutes. Because we were a family, and we were a team, and we grew together, every single one of us. I love my teammates with all my heart, and I love my coaches with all my heart. Each and every one of them means the world to me. I knew what it's like to have friends, to have a family, to be loved, and to be accepted. In those 2 months of my life, I felt like I had grown more than I had in years. If any of you happen upon this video, coach, and my friends, my teammates, my family, I love you guys, and I always will. Thanks for watching.